what's happening around us. China has got its string of pearls theory and we have been encircled. Almost 7,500 kilometers of territory around us is China infested or China controlled, which includes the PLA now sitting in the Pak occupied Kashmir, or the Maoists in Nepal, or China making an entry into Sri Lanka. Compared to the threat we have or compared to our security needs, is it enough? Is the question. Arunachal Pradesh, Tibet. They have strengthened themselves significantly in Tibet and the Arunachal Pradesh belt. Issues that actually bother all of us. Related to that is how are defense decisions taken. We have another defense scam which has come up. I was reading the Business Line the other day and there was a list of orders announced by the government for defense and cancelled. The government needs 6 air-to-air refueling planes. The cost is $1.2 billion. Twice they have issued a tender and twice they have cancelled it. Once in 2007, cancelled in 2009, once in 2010, cancelled in 2012. We have never ordered those items. The army needs artillery, field artillery guns. Cost of the tender, $640 million. Tender announced in 2002, 2007, 2010, cancelled in 2005, 7 and 12. The recent helicopter deal is a question mark. We have the benefit of two eminent speakers here. We have changed today's program. Mr. Prabhu, who is running short of time, we have brought him earlier on the speaking role, and then we have Sandeep. Mr. Prabhu has his own commitments that he needs to take on. Much as he doesn't need an introduction, I still need to do the formalities. I was given a 3-pager concise biodata of Mr. Prabhu. If a 3-pager is concise, then I don't know what the actual is. Let me just pick out a few things which really caught my imagination and how impressed I was. Mr. Prabhu, we don't need your introduction, but I'm still introducing you. He's a rank holder in this chartered accountancy. He's a law graduate. He's got honorary doctorates from Latin America, and he's still pursuing 2 doctorates, one from Germany and one from Bombay. I was quite impressed to see that he has actually helped more than 56,000 poor persons to become self-employed or to help themselves, and he has another 1 lakh such cases going on. As part of the Union Cabinet, he has held very important portfolios, and as part of a vibrant leader in this country, he has been immensely contributing to the Indian polity. Sir, a few years ago, somebody told me that if there were 10 more Suresh Prabhus in the parliament, the discussions and decision-making would be more meaningful. I was mightily impressed, sir. I would request Mr. Prabhu not just to give us his presidential speech, but also to touch at least on one point, sir. Why is Indian defense making slow, sluggish, or it never takes place? As part of the Union Cabinet, I'm sure you have a more ring-around view than we have. Mr. Prabhu, please. Thank you.
So I thank you for all these compliments, undeservingly, of course. But as a fellow chartered accountant, I think we try to keep complimenting each other. So thank you for this fellowship. Mr. Unnikrishnan, Advocate Mr. Bal Desai, and my friends. Actually, I must seek your apologies because today, I don't know how strange events happen. Suddenly, the Wharton School has become one of the hot news. And therefore, I had to go and appear on some other programs in TV, so I need to go a little early. That's why I'm very thankful for allowing me to speak first. In any case, speaking after Mr. Unnikrishnan wouldn't have been possible in any case. So therefore, it's also an advantage of speaking something which I don't know about, but speaking on a subject which is of a great importance to all of us. First of all, I congratulate Mr. Bal Desai and FINS, the Forum for Integrated National Security, because we rarely think about security in an integrated manner. India is one country where everything is fragmented. Our policy is fragmented, And if a policy is fragmented, with goes polity, the policy as well. And therefore there are 13 ministries which deal with water. If you think security is a perceptive issue, because how one feels secured. Security is a state of mind. And therefore, if you really look at security as an issue, and to defend against that insecurity is something which you really need to build in, then this whole debate about budget for defense should be looked into from a different perspective, which the Finns is trying to do. So therefore, talking about security, then one of the major security should be that we could have the best of armaments, best of soldiers, best air force, the seas will be protected very well by the Navy. But if there is no food available within the country, how would you be secured? So therefore, food security is an important issue. Then there are 13 different ministries deal with water, which is so key component for food. Major concern for India should be, in the next few years' time, is energy issue. No economic activity in India can ever happen without energy. Whether it's energy required for manufacturing, whether energy required for services, whether the energy required for agriculture, and even agriculture needs huge energy because we are pumping out groundwater, or energy which is required for mobility, because we cannot run anything without energy, whether transportation sector or any other sector will not operate. So therefore, if that again is a security issue, that again is very fragmented. So therefore, I think this is one institution, the Forum for Integrated National Security, which probably brings together all the security related issues on one common platform, and therefore polity and policy may be fragmented, but at least there is one institution which tries to bring the holistic picture of it. So therefore I wish to congratulate it. And now coming to the budget, and he is going to speak about it, I'm sure in the most authoritative way and also in the most informative way. But his budget is a disaster in my opinion. Why I am saying this? There are economists like Mr. Bhandare who will tell you better. But one thing is a doctor's prescription. You go to a doctor because he's a good doctor, because he actually can identify your disease well. That itself is a good thing. So if at all I have to give some marks to the finance minister for identifying the root cause of the economy, I will give him full marks. But the doctor's job doesn't end there. If you're only going to tell you that your problem is like this, now you please die, I cannot do anything, then you don't need a doctor, because anyway I would have died. So if doctor has identified the cause of the problem, then his responsibility starts there to actually prescribe solution to the problem. So Chidambaram, as a finance minister, identified all the problems correctly. He said, and also said the growth is a Mool Mantra. And in fact, even to provide more money for budget for defense, we need more money. And it will come from growth, hopefully. Not always, because then this money can always be squandered away into many paid schemes of so many great minds that our government has been able to keep around them. So that money can still be lost. But even to find some money, we need growth first. And that's what he said, growth is a Mula Mantra. But what has he done for a Mula Mantra? I think we need to give him a Kanu Mantra. Because this is a real challenging task, because fiscal deficit, which is going to rise much more than what it is. 56,000 crores has been said to be coming from disinvestment, which can never come. Spectrum sale will never give the money that is envisaged in the budget. Already whatever is expected to come from the revenue is based on a premise that the GDP will grow by 6.3%, which will never happen. And therefore, if that is what it is, and on the expenditure side, everything is very grossly understated. So revenue is overstated, revenue is understated, expenditure is understated, under-projected, and therefore we have a challenge. And at a time when to put growth back onto the growth as one of the preoccupation, what should have been done is to invest in future, where growth will come in. Whereas this time he has cut down complete capital expenditure, significantly planned expenditure, and even now the total planned expenditure for the next year is only 33% of the total expenditure. So therefore, we have a challenging task here. There are many issues. Infrastructure is a bottleneck. How much money you want for infrastructure? $1 trillion in next 5 years. That's almost averaging about $200 billion a year. And of that, 47% is supposed to be coming from private sector. And economic survey, which was presented by Mr. Chidambaram a day earlier, but that Chidambaram seems to be a different person than the Chidambaram who presented the finance, as a finance minister budget next day, because there is complete disconnect between all the problems, all the challenges identified in the economic survey. None of them have been addressed. So therefore the budget in a way is a disaster, but that's one part. But now we can, looking at it very limited way, and therefore I congratulate you. I don't think any institution which looks at budget and defense. So defense is itself, as you very well pointed out, is a big challenge. What we really need to begin with is to have a very serious defense review of India. That should be done to begin with. Identify all the key challenges, how are we going to address them, what equipments we need, what technology we need, what type of intelligence network we need to create, and then start providing for that in the budget in the course of next 10 years' time. Also look into the relationship between external border defense and internal security defense. And also these areas of water, energy and all food, all this will really constitute the building blocks for that defense. So in that context, I would feel that Chidambaram should not even get any marks, because that has been really one of the real disaster in the budget itself. As you correctly said, our defense forces, their level of motivation is so low, because that again is something you cannot fight a war with the soldiers who are not willing to fight a war. Therefore, how to keep our armed forces motivated is a big challenge, and there on that count, I will not blame Chidambaram for that, because he is not the one who can do all this. But that being the case, and looking at the preparedness of our neighbors, whom we think are our strategic challenges to our sovereignty, I think their preparedness, we are actually almost nowhere. And that's why we really need to put this into a focus area. Even will not really call it a defense, but our own Arunachal Pradesh. On the other side, the Chinese have built type of roads which even of envy to the people living in Mumbai. Of course, Mumbai, we can say Mumbai has roads only when there are no potholes, but that only we encounter road with potholes. But even Arunachal Pradesh border areas, the type of road that have been constructed, type of railway network has been created by the Chinese in their area. I think that also should be considered as one of the important components of the threat perception that India is having from many quarters. So in that context, our defense budget is awful. And as you said, most of it will not go into the capital expenditure. But even if what goes into capital expenditure is a serious challenge to us. Because India is the only country which is the net importer of arms of a magnitude that nobody else does it. So in fact, we import food. We are importing, that is mainly pulses, not fortunately the food grains anymore. But we also import armaments. We import 90% of our total oil is imported. And therefore, we have become a biggest importer, one of the biggest, to support the world economy. So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a philosophy which we are already following. Because we are thinking, we will help us later, but we must help others. So and Chidambaram has said, 3.9% growth rate of the global economy has come down to 3.2%, and therefore India is slowing down, forgetting the fact that India's contribution in this incremental global trade is only 6.5%. So if the global economy has shrunk by 0.7%, and our share of global trade is just not even global trade, but the incremental global trade. The global trade is even 1 or 2%. But the major economy is global trade, where China constitutes 43%. If our share is so small, I don't know how we are really affected by that. But anyway, only good lawyer can do it. I think we must put a chartered accountant there rather than a lawyer. But this being the case, India seems to be worried, because Chidambaram started his speech with the global economy slowing down. So I think he seems to be so worried about global economy that now we have become importers of a magnitude that will help the global economy to grow faster than any other time, probably. But that cannot be the source of defense for India, in which we keep importing equipments to manage our defense. And therefore, one of the major programs that we must have is to how can we have a proper manufactured armaments in India which can actually meet our need for the defense preparedness. And that's something which again is a very challenging issue for us. I hope we are able to deal with this. But as I said, unfortunately, defense is a holy cow. We don't want to talk about it too much. We want to discuss it. Even in the parliament, we have seen that not many times we discuss it, and if there are always a very good wall that you can put by saying, no, this is defense issue, don't talk. So that means we don't want to discuss it. We don't want to discuss it, that means we don't even know the magnitude of the problem that exists in a defense establishment. And therefore, this is really the time that we must have a serious defense review to find out our threat, our reality, and then create a strategy which will not be met in 1 year. No single budget will be able to do that, but at least we'll be able to do it in a span of 10 years. Of course, nobody is going to wait. If the war has to be fought, nobody can wait for 10 years. But I think some critical part can be done in a short term, but we must have a long-term vision to deal with economy as well as defense. And I really, therefore, congratulate my friends in FINS to organize this event. What I'm going to miss is very unfortunate. I'll not be able to listen to you, but I will have to go, unfortunately, only because seems to be, again, the Wharton Business School seems to become very important than our Indian Institute of Management. So therefore, we want to just go and talk about it. I need to leave. So I thank you very much, and I wish